Today, I want to talk about Mario Party. You know, that beloved game that first blessed our lives in 1998 and since then has released 12 main games, 6 handheld, 7 arcade, when was this a thing, and has sold 69 million copies worldwide? Every Mario Party fan has their opinions on which Mario Party is the best, and which one is the worst. But in this video, I don't want to give my opinion. Oh no, I want to determine which Mario Party is truly the worst, based on stats alone. Now, it's not a perfect science, but I've come up with 8 categories that arguably determine what makes a Mario Party the best and which one the worst. Before I get into those categories, let's discuss the contenders up for the honorable title of Worst Mario Party. First, I will not be including the arcade installments, mainly because they aren't even video games. But I also won't be including the handheld installments either. This video will only focus on the main system entries. I will also not be including Mario Party Superstars. This installment is more of a remake of the best this series has to offer, and really is more of a tribute to Mario Party, more so than its own unique entry. So with that, the contenders will include Mario Party 1 through 10 and Super Mario Party. Now, what makes a Mario Party great can be subjective, but through some heavy research, I've settled on 8 categories that makes a Mario Party game great. I'll go through each category one by one and assign a score to each Mario Party based on their stat. Since there are 11 entries, if a Mario Party does the best in a specific category, they will get 10 points, one less than the number of contenders. If a Mario Party does the worst in a specific category, they will get 0 points. After going through all 8 categories, the Mario Party entry with the lowest score will be the worst Mario Party in the series based on these stats. Let's go. The first category, which really should be obvious, is the minigames. Minigames are very important and can make or break a Mario Party entry. The first thing I looked at was how many minigames are in each entry. The more minigames, the better, as there's more content to play. Pretty simple. Here are the stats. As you can see, the Mario Party entry with the most minigames is Mario Party 7 with 88 minigames, and the Mario Party with the least minigames is Mario Party with only 50 minigames. Makes sense given it's the first entry in the series, but unfortunately it gets 0 points for this category. Now, as we all know, having the most minigames doesn't necessarily mean the entry has the best minigames. And I'm sure most would agree an entry with better minigames is better than an entry with more minigames but less fun. It's hard to rank the Mario Party games in this category as what makes a minigame fun or the best is subjective. So for this, I looked at how many minigames from a given entry is in Mario Party Superstars, which we've been told has the best 100 minigames from the series. Again, not a perfect science, as there's some entries that focused on motion control for a lot of their minigames, which really didn't translate to Superstars, but it's the best we got. So here are the stats. And just a disclaimer, I did not include an item minigame or sports and puzzle minigames. At the top 3 is Mario Party 3 with 24 minigames and Superstars, and at the bottom is Super Mario Party. This entry definitely has some solid minigames, and why they were excluded from Superstars I'm not sure, but unfortunately it gets 0 points for this category. The next 2 categories are related to the same topic, which, like minigames, is another very critical piece to making a Mario Party game great, and that's the boards. The first category of these categories is the number of boards. Obviously, the more boards the better, as you have more options to choose from, which makes for a more long-lasting experience. Otherwise, it's easy to get bored. And yes, that is a pun. Just a disclaimer, these scores are based off the number of boards in party mode. No amiibo boards or bullshit like that. So here are the stats. At number 1, we have the original Mario Party with 8 boards. That's pretty impressive, but unfortunately, it's been downhill since. While the average appears to be 6 board games per game, ND Cube, the developer of Super Mario Party, said fuck that and decided to only include 4 boards in Super Mario Party, the lowest of any entry. But just wait, it gets even worse. The second category related to boards is the size of the boards. Now, that's not to say shorter boards are bad, as there are plenty of them that are a fan favorite, but typically the longer the board, the more content there is, which means there is more to experience and play with. So for this, I counted the amount of spaces on each board in each entry, and took the average of those boards to determine how the Mario Party games rank amongst each other. The higher the board space average, the higher the score. Here are the stats. The Mario Party game with the highest board space average is Mario Party 10 with an average of 98.8. Now, this is probably controversial since Mario Party 10 doesn't have the traditional boards as Mario Party 1 through 8 and Super Mario Party. The boards are essentially linear, and you all travel together in a car. So there will be lots of spaces that aren't even possible to land on if you only go down a certain path. But nonetheless, by definition, it has the highest board space average. And the Mario Party with the lowest board space average is, you guessed it, Super Mario Party, with an average of 47.8. Not only does Super Mario Party have the fewest boards, but the boards they do have are the smallest compared to any board in the franchise. They really dropped the ball when it came to boards in this installment, and it's almost embarrassing. Let's move on to the next category. These next few categories may be seen as less important when it comes to what makes a Mario Party game the best or worst, but in my opinion, they still have an impact. One of those categories is the character selection. Having a large pool of characters to select from is more exciting and can make each game feel fresh and different, whereas a smaller pool leads to games feeling more repetitive as you're seeing the same characters over and over. So here are the stats. Coming in at number 1 and earning perhaps a bit of redemption from the previous categories is Super Mario Party with a total of 20 characters. What I love about Super Mario Party is that each character has their own unique dice block, and because of that, choosing a character almost becomes strategic. And last, we have a tie between Mario Party and Mario Party 2, which I'm sure comes to no shock. Both these installments only had 6 characters. Back then, the small pool didn't really feel like a hindrance though, especially because the boards of indie games were so much fun. The next category is items, which definitely has a big impact on the different strategies and gameplay in a given Mario Party. The more items, the more moves you can make, and the more unpredictable the game can be. And that to me makes Mario Party, well, Mario Party. Of course, there are some items that are much better than others, and some items that are very questionable. But for this category, it's quantity over quality, and the Mario Party with the most items gets the top score. Disclaimer, I'm only counting items available in party mode, as there are some Mario Party games with items only available in different modes. Here are the stats. Barely taking the top spot is Mario Party 7 with 29 items. Since it was so close between the number 1 and 2 spot, let's give a round of applause for Mario Party 5 with 28 items. Impressive indeed. And last, and to no surprise, is Mario Party with 0 items. To think there's a Mario Party installment with no items is crazy, but Mario Party was truly an experimental game. Moving right along to the next category, we have modes. Each Mario Party entry has the same 2 modes, and that's Party Mode, where you play the boards, and Minigame Mode, where you can play minigames. The name of these modes may differ in each entry, but they serve the same purpose. But typically, each Mario Party game has additional modes that are more unique from the rest. So for this category, I counted the number of modes available to play in each entry. A couple of disclaimers. For some reason, areas where you can adjust the options in the game, like sound, or where you can review records, counts as modes. But I didn't count those as modes in this video, because come on, why would that be considered a mode? I also didn't count shops or anything where you can use coins you've collected to unlock characters or various things, because it just doesn't feel like a mode. Also, I recognize some modes, mainly minigame mode, is made up of even smaller modes, and that some Mario games have way more content in their minigame mode compared to others. Mario Party 9, for example, has Free Play, Step It Up, Choice Challenge, High Rollers, Time Attack, Boss Rush, and my personal favorite, Garden Battle, all under the minigame mode. That's 7 different sub-modes under minigames, and truly I think the best minigame mode in any Mario Party game, compared to Super Mario Party that only offers 3. But to keep things simple, regardless of the sub-modes, if it has a minigame mode, it only counts as 1 mode. With that, here are the stats. Despite having a weak minigame mode, Super Mario Party comes out on top with 8 different modes. They're not all hits, but you can't complain when you have 8 different modes. And last is Mario Party, which only has Party Mode and minigame mode. Now, despite having all these categories and stats to calculate the worst Mario Party, the stats can only reveal so much. And sometimes, it's not about the numbers, but it's about what you feel. How you feel playing each Mario Party can't be calculated by a formula. And to recognize this, I took to the polls and asked the viewers what Mario Party they thought was the worst. Based on those polls, here are the results. The game voted as the least worst, meaning best, is Mario Party 2 with only 22 votes as the worst Mario Party game. The game voted as the worst is Mario Party 10 with 283 votes.
The tribe has spoken.
Now, I've analyzed and calculated all the data, and it's time to reveal the worst Mario Party game based on these stats, starting with the best Mario Party game. In the top spot is Mario Party 5 with a total score of 53. Coming in second is Mario Party 6 with a total score of 49.5. In tied for third, we have Mario Party 8 and 9 with 41 points each. A three-way tie for fifth, we have Mario Party 2, 3, and 7 with 37.5 points each. And another three-way tie in eighth, we have Mario Party 4, 10, and Super Mario Party with 36 points. Meaning in last is Mario Party with 23 points. That's right, the game that started it all. Mario Party is officially the worst Mario Party entry based on stats. There's definitely no denying Mario Party had some wonky mechanics and some interesting rules, but to say it's the worst, I'm just not sure. Because even though they got some things wrong in Mario Party, they also got so many things right that remained a part of the core of the franchise that fans love so much. What do you think? Is Mario Party truly the worst one in the franchise? Let us know. And remember to keep pressing A.